The incremental genre has been red hot as of late, releasing games that focus on items based around luck, like coin flips, dice rolls, and even cards. So it was only a matter of time before crafty game devs reached for the next great luck-based American pastime, scratch-off tickets. Welcome to my Worth Your Time series, where I break down whether in this attention-hungry economy, if games are worth your time in addition to being just worth your money. For most of us, the phrase scratch-off tickets brings to mind the smell of a seldom cleaned gas station as well as its seldom washed patrons, or the texture of that gross, flaky black film that covers tickets and similarly game gift cards. Thankfully though, the newest scratch-off simulator, Scritchy Scratchy, lets you enjoy all the best parts of scratch-offs without all those terrible memories of mom wasting your lunch money on scratchers. On the surface, Scritchy Scratchy has much in common with the incremental games currently in vogue, like Gambler's Table. Tickets randomly give money based on luck, you use money to increase your luck or your payout numbers, and you gradually build an automation machine to do all of the work for you. As you move deeper into the gameplay, however, Scritchy Scratchy reveals itself to be more creatively unique and less mind-numbing than some of its compatriots. First off is the labor of love that is the ticket designs. I won't spoil all the ticket designs so that you can discover them on your own with fresh eyes, but there are a total of 19 scratcher types to find as you level up, and they are each very unique and well illustrated with their own general theme, clever scratching patterns, and unique result symbols. Unlike other idle games where you're likely to sit around for 20 minutes just to see a single mechanic change from silver to gold or something like that, unlocking a new ticket design here actually feels like a well-deserved reward for all of your dedicated scratching work. The next pleasant surprise I found was the real enjoyment of scratching off the tickets. Because in almost all idle games, the actual progress mechanism boils down to just clicking something a million times, the slightly more complicated scratching motion here is kind of a breath of fresh air, especially when every ticket has a different layout of their symbols and the game actually gives you reasons to scratch strategically. Mindless clicking or automation with no in-between is not the rule here. Scratchy actually introduces trade-offs by giving some tickets negative values that actually hurt your run. I haven't played another incremental game where you can actually have your progress go backwards, aside from Prestiges if you count that, but that is possible here. I found it an interesting risk-reward game you have to play out both while you're scratching manually and if you decide to automate scratching those negative tickets. This gives the game an added layer of flavor compared to games where it seems like the only goal is set and forget automation, followed by constant waiting. Game developers took advantage of a unique quality of scratch-off tickets where you could partially scratch a symbol, then insinuate what is underneath, which adds to the lottery excitement. By exercising restraint here, you can identify if a spot has a bad symbol and therefore avoid the negative payout you would get if you scratched it fully. This mini challenge becomes even more devious when the game throws fail symbols at you that look very similar to jackpot symbols, thereby rewarding a keen eye and providing more engagement than your average idler. However, regardless of your desire to scratch yourself or the risks imposed on automation, just like any idler game, you eventually move towards scratching automation just the same. Because there are essentially 4 actions in this game, buying tickets, clicking or moving tickets, scratching tickets, and claiming rewards, the game introduces automations for each of those tasks at different points in the game, eventually allowing for a completely idle workflow that continuously prints money while you play another game or actually pay attention to that Zoom meeting. But as I mentioned before, you have to watch carefully for negative payouts on certain tickets. Your catbot accidentally claiming a negative value ticket could severely set you back, or worse, cast you into an unpayable debt. I was captivated by this challenge to find the right amount of luck that I could start automating certain tickets, being careful to watch and balance my bank account going up and down between the winners and the critical fails. On the off chance that you do hit a big whammy, there is not an easy get-out-of-jail-free card. You must take on a loan that comes with a supreme amount of interest and will impede your run in some way. This kind of intense punishment for huge mistakes felt unique to the genre, and I felt like it made my success more earned rather than simply guaranteed. The real kicker for number go up in this game is in the prestige upgrades. Like some other games in the subgenre, you are gently pushed to restart your run with the added benefit of spending points you earned from jackpots on permanent upgrades that can also be respecced at your command. They allow you to modify the game to your playstyle and see what can multiply your earnings the fastest. Plus, no one likes repeating the early sections of a run over and over again, so thankfully you can zip through the early tiers if you choose the right perks. The game does have a story that adds some reason behind why you're doing what you're doing, and cutscenes that act as a kind of reward for hitting certain milestones, which I appreciated in comparison to many idle games that effectively have no story and willfully abandon that part of the game's personality. However, I still found the dialogue to be a bit too vague, intentionally banking on "it'll all be explained in the end," which I think is lazy. But I have to give marks to the developers for even trying here, especially considering the game's low price. Only 2 things really stood out as detractors in Scritchy Scratchy, and those were the confusing controls with a cat robot and a questionable ending glitch. I constantly was wishing for the ability to assist the cat machine in claiming my tickets when there was a huge stockpile that needed to be grinded through. Sadly, only you or the bot can work at any given time, and since my mouse click was always faster than the cat, I often felt like the cat was not the best designed automation piece due to that exclusivity. And finally, I won't spoil the ending, but I did have a strange occurrence happen at the game's conclusion that either prevented me from achieving a certain ending or was deliberate in design. Either way, I wasn't a fan of the ending I was able to get, and whatever other ending may have been available seemed not to trigger for me. Scritchy Scratchy can be completed in a matter of 5 to 7 hours or longer, depending on how idle you really choose to be. For completionists, there's likely 12 or so hours of content total, thanks to all the prestige perks, as well as an array of tricky achievements that offered more challenge than just grind. So another hat tip to the development team. It's only $7 on Steam, which I feel like provides a really good time, especially for the cost. While other idler games may waste a lot of player time with incessant grinding, which of course some people love, Scritchy Scratchy's pacing feels much more even and provides more payoffs per hour, which also makes it a good game for beginners of the genre to jump in. For all its unique and surprising quirks, genuine creative expression, and solid pacing that respects player time, Scritchy Scratchy more than overcomes a few small foibles I feel like could be fixed in a future update, earning a well-deserved 8.5 out of 10. Thanks for watching, and if you're interested in exploring other games in this category, such as the similarly recent Gambler's Table, check out this and other reviews here. Now go scratch your heart out.